When was the last time you heard someone say, I don't even know where to begin? When was the last time that you said it or thought it? After a week of travel, returning home to a sink full of dishes that you thought had been done before you left, overflowing laundry and a pile of mail, someone might say, I don't even know where to begin. Another example. Let's say that you've been asked to take over a failing project at your place of work, and you find it nearly impossible to sort out. It's extremely difficult to determine who's in charge of what, or even what's been done or not done, and you think to yourself, this is a real mess. I don't even know where to begin. I once presented my kids with a choice of helping me walk the dog, picking up the dishes in the den that weren't really supposed to have been taken to the den, or helping mom water the flowers in the front yard. And one of them said, Dad, I don't even know where to begin with that. Whenever we feel overwhelmed, we are apt to say, I don't even know where to begin. And sometimes we're overwhelmed in good ways. Someone throws a surprise party in your honor, and you look at all the faces that are fixed on you at that moment. The faces of people who have loved you and supported you through the years. And you know that you're expected to say something, yet your heart is so full of gratitude that you don't know even where to begin with all the thank yous. And sometimes we're overwhelmed in challenging ways. Let's say we want to make a career change in midlife, but we lack the experience or the schooling for the new career. We might say, I want to be a software developer, but I don't even know where to start. Or maybe we need to start a difficult and emotional conversation. Someone comes out as gay or trans to their fundamentalist Christian parents, and it's hard to know where to begin. A close friend of yours has tragically and unexpectedly lost a loved one, and you want to comfort them and say and do helpful things, but it's hard to know where to begin. And sometimes we are overwhelmed in truly frightening ways that are personal to us, facing a job loss, a medical crisis, or endless phone calls and letters from creditors, breaking free from a cycle of addiction, leaving an abusive relationship that we've been trying to leave for years. When a friend asks us how we are really doing, we might shake our heads and through the tears start to say, I don't know where to begin. And when faced with the seeming chaos in our world, in our country, perhaps even the chaos in our families or in our circle of friends, we're apt to say, I don't know where to begin. For those times when we do feel overwhelmed by chaos, this first chapter in Genesis is a gift because it's a story about God bringing order out of the chaos. The gospel reading from the first chapter of John that Lizanne read a moment ago reinforces the traditional Christian doctrine that God created the world out of nothing. But in Genesis, God creates the world out of chaos. Now, these are not mutually exclusive ideas. By faith, we can affirm that the same God who created the universe is the same God who is continually recreating, bringing order out of the chaos, forever opening up new possibilities. On your bulletin cover is a quote from Genesis 1:1 and 2 in the New Revised Standard Version Updated Edition. When God began to create the heavens and the earth was complete chaos. Now, when the New Revised Standard Version was first published in 1989, the translators rendered the verse a little differently. In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth was a formless void. But with the updated edition in 2021, they rendered that verse as complete chaos. Now, why the change? It could be that the translators believed that complete chaos was a better translation of the Hebrew, or perhaps they believed that that phrase, complete chaos, best contrasted with a depiction of the ordered creation at the end of the story. All of those are possible. But I also wonder if it had something to do with the fact that the translation must have spent the final months of their work meeting by Zoom during that chaotic pandemic year of 2020. Maybe they chose that phrase, complete chaos, because it was the best match for their life circumstances at the time. And maybe they chose that phrase because it affirmed their deeply held belief that even during a pandemic, that God is always creating the world anew in the midst of chaos. Whatever chaos you might be living through right now or experiencing, or whatever chaos you fear might overtake you in the future, the good news is that the Spirit of God is hovering over your life, just as the Spirit of God hovered over the primordial waters, and that God is always bringing order out of chaos and opening up the new possibilities. And I believe that God creates the space for that to happen. And then within that space, God puts the right people in our path, the ones who are likely to give us a new perspective or show us the best way to break out of destructive patterns, the ones who are gifted at helping us to break down difficult and complex situations into single, manageable steps that can be taken one after the other. Look at how God created the world anew in Genesis 1. On the first day, God created day and night, thereby creating the space for the creation of the sun, moon, and stars on day 4. On the second day, God created the sky and the sea, thereby creating the space for the creation of birds and sea creatures on day 5. On the third day, God created all the vegetation on the earth, the first step in the food chain, you might say, thereby creating the space for the creation of every kind of land animal, including humans, on day 6. There are times when we might prefer that God would create order out of chaos instantaneously. But more likely than not, God will first create the space for change to happen, transforming hearts and minds, enabling us to help each other confront difficult but necessary tasks instead of just avoiding them, giving us the courage to take each new step. And perhaps this community of faith can be the space for you to bring a sense of order to whatever chaos you face. And I know that it already has been that space for so many of you, as church family members comforted you in your grief over the loss of a loved one, or as they helped you navigate a divorce or an unexpected job loss, or accompanied you with love and prayer as you went through a spiritual crisis. Another way to create space for transformation is to take on spiritual disciplines of prayer or spiritual Bible reading or journaling. And this is another area where we as a community of faith might help each other. And I'm happy to share resources if you're interested in different kinds of praying or different ways of reading the Bible. In whatever chaos you may face at this moment, please know that God's Spirit is lovingly hovering over you even now, ready to recreate your world, bring order out of the chaos, and in the end, God will say what God said in Genesis. It is very good. All glory and praise be to our God. Amen.